right, everyone. Welcome to day 3 of our healthcare series for project management. And like I've said in my previous recordings, let me just actually put this in presentation mode. There we go. So as I've said in my previous series recordings is that for anyone, especially any professional that has had either experience in project management or has experience either within healthcare or any other industry and they're looking to transfer into healthcare, it is very, very helpful for them to really have a baseline of healthcare because, first of all, the healthcare industry tends to be, for lack of a better word, it tends to be very selective. Like they want people to show previous healthcare experience or knowledge. If it's not experience, they want you to show that you have at least the knowledge and that kind of thing. For anyone to have knowledge, especially if you haven't worked in healthcare, and I know moving from India to here, the healthcare industry here is very complex. I won't lie to you. So, and this is a highlight. It at least gives you really an idea. And I haven't skimmed on things. I'm really giving you guys very good information, but it's the detail, in order to understand. Now, as a project manager, you don't necessarily have to know all the details per se. Like, say, someone who's an analyst, a business analyst, and I did have done that. So in fact, a lot of this comes from my experience comes from that. I have that background as a software engineer slash business analyst. So I did both the tech and also the business side. And where I'm saying that is that I have the knowledge. I'm not just coming to this from also just being a project manager. I'm also coming to it because I really rolled up my sleeves. I actually did the work. But at least the thing about it is, Archana, when you get an idea of how the process works or how this works, this is high level. Though definitely the course I'm going to do is actually going to go just a little bit deeper. It's not going to be very deep from an analyst perspective, but just a bit deeper. So that when you are in a room, because also things have changed here in such that when you're a project manager, the people you're managing, especially stakeholders, I think I looked at your profile. You're right. I saw you have done some projects, I think, in India. I don't know. I don't see all the details. I looked briefly yesterday when we connected because a couple of people asked to connect with me. So that's why. So I don't remember everything, but I do remember, I think it seems you've had some experience with project management in India. And then I think I saw the next one was here, so I didn't know if you moved or you were working remote in India with a company here. But can you help me understand, since you're here, I'm going to give you actually, there's no one else. I'll try and actually talk to you in a way that since you're on live, whereby I can explain some things. I won't go into much detail. Why? Because it can get confusing, tell you the truth. But if you had a chance to watch day 1, day 2, at least you get the process, how one goes into the other, because literally how I'm going is how the whole process works. And also to know that there's so much in healthcare, as you may know. This is specifically on the provider side. So where it's a hospital or physicians, it doesn't have to be not just physicians, any clinician who's providing services, which is big. But you're going to find there's clinical research. You're going to find there'll be pharmaceutical, and all of that stuff. So this is what that is. But this is big, as you know, we all get sick. So anyway, so that's the perspective I'm talking from. If you have any questions, you can ask, but just so you know, for some things I may not go as deep again because there'll be other people watching this and I don't want people to get as confused, but I'll give you enough information that it helps you to understand. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So let's start. So day 1, we talked about the front end, which is also called access within healthcare operations. Day 2, which was yesterday, talked about the clinical operations, which is when a patient gets, all of this is like a patient journey and then physician journey, and then the revenue, which is the financial side. So yesterday we talked about patient getting to a provider, they give them services and things, what happens before, during, and after. So next to that, then we come to where the financials start, because why? The clinicians or the providers, I use that interchangeably, but I'm going to use providers. It's easier for me. But it encompasses all providers, doctors, nurses, therapists, any kind of person who is providing healthcare to a patient. Anyway, so after that, then we deal with the financials because they have to be paid. So this is where this whole now financial side happens. The financial side is also called patient financial services. If you ever see that, it's literally the same thing, but it's really encompasses the financial operations. So the financial operations entail three parts, three major parts to it. There are many, many processes that go on, but this is the main three processes that we can really categorize them into. So the first is called the charge capture. The next one is called the revenue processing or financial processing. The third is what happens after all that processing, which is called the post-revenue processing.